What's up, guys? We are back with a full slate of MLB action here on Monday, September 16th. Absolutely wild Sunday of NFL action out there, and we are going to cover the Monday night game right here at the end of the video. Before we jump into the games, hit that like button to give the channel a little boost and keep me motivated to make these videos every single day. If you're new around here or haven't already, subscribe to the channel for free so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. You can now also sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Members get exclusive early access to all NFL and college football videos and get their names up on screen just like right now. I really appreciate the support from all of you. Seeing that badge next to your comments absolutely warms my heart. Our videos are sponsored by snthspreadcom. We have a team of experienced cappers over there for every major sport, currently covering MLB, NCAA football, UFC, and the NFL. Click the link in the description if you're interested in signing up and also to join our free email list to get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Stump the Spread is tracking a $100 to $10,000 challenge that's going to be tracked through those emails, so get on the list so you don't miss out on how the challenge is going. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today and we'll give you our best advice on all of them. We are committed to responding to every single comment every day, so let me know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the Minnesota Twins going on the road to take on the Cleveland Guardians. Minnesota comes into this game fresh off of probably not their happiest series there. They lost 2 out of 3 against the Cincinnati Reds to fall to 79-70 on the year. Obviously not what this squad had envisioned, guys. They're 6.5 games back now in the AL Central. They're going to have a bit of a tough time making it into the playoffs at all, although they are alive there in the American League wildcard hunt, so I guess they'll take that, but things have been a bit rough. They're hitting the ball in this one to Pablo Lopez, who's been one of their better starters this season. A 15-8 record and a 3.88 ERA is what he's run up coming into this game. His start against the Angels was a pretty weird one. He went 7 innings, gave up 8 hits, 4 runs, but none of them were earned and struck out 10 in that game. So yeah, a little bit weird out there. We do see that the Twins are 4-0 over his last 4 starts, and he's been very, very good going deep into games over those starts and just generally pitching pretty well. Going up against Cleveland, obviously, might be a little bit of a test here. He hasn't faced them since back in April, and he did all right, I guess, in that start, but that's so long ago, we don't really care about that too much at this point in the season. In terms of their bullpen, the Twins have had some struggles here down the stretch, guys. They're in the bottom half of the MLB with a 4.18 bullpen ERA. Not what they were hoping for. At other points this year, this bullpen's looked pretty good, but right now, that is just absolutely not the case. So a little bit worried about the bullpen, if not about the starter, but yeah, Pablo Lopez, not usually a guy that puts pressure on the bullpen there. He usually gives them a nice long start to work with. So we'll see what happens for the pitchers in this game for the Twins, but the offense, coming off of a 9-run game against Cincinnati where they won 9-2, has to feel pretty nice. They've struggled a little bit recently, but they've had some good starts, some good games too. So yeah, we'll see what happens. They're still 11th in the majors in runs scored, 10th in batting average. They just haven't been quite as good lately as they were early in the season. So we'll see what they can do here against Cleveland, who comes into this game fresh off of splitting a 4-game series there against Tampa Bay. Not exactly what you're hoping for against Tampa Bay, but with a 4-game lead there in the AL Central, they can't be too upset. They're going to be hitting the ball to Matthew Boyd, who's 2-1 this season with a 2.18 ERA. His last start was a little bit problematic against the White Sox. We did see Cleveland eventually rally and win that game 6-4, so they'll take that, and they are 4-1 over Boyd's last 5 starts, so that's pretty positive. And yeah, he's been throwing the ball really, really well lately. A very good start against the Dodgers recently, a serviceable start against the Yankees. Yeah, just overall, guys, Matthew Boyd, definitely somebody we're interested in backing here. We'll see what he can do against the Twins. Not a team that he's faced yet this season, obviously. I mean, he's only making his 7th start of the year, so we'll see what he can do. I'm expecting good things, though, in terms of their bullpen. I'm always expecting Cleveland to be elite. They're currently first in the majors with a 2.70 bullpen ERA, pretty much light years better than everyone else. So we'll see if they can keep that rolling here. I definitely expect them to. The question for this team is, where is the offense going to come from, guys? They've scored 2, 6, 1, 2, 6, and 5 runs over their last few games, and those are spanning series against Tampa Bay and the Chicago White Sox, not the toughest opponents. So yeah, a little bit worried about this offense. We see Quan maybe coming around a little bit. Jose Ramirez put up another home run. This offense is 14th in the majors in runs scored and 22nd in batting average, so maybe not the best hitting team, but generally they tend to get the job done. And looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we got the Twins at -112, the Guardians at -104. We've got an over-under of 7.5 in this game. Minnesota, they're a 500 team on the road, but Cleveland is an excellent home team. They're 45-27 when playing at home. So, guys, I'm definitely leaning towards the Guardians at home in this one, especially with Matthew Boyd on the mound. This seems like an extremely, extremely reasonable number. In terms of the over-under here, it's kind of shocking to see both these teams trending towards the over in this specific situation, but given the 2 starters that we're going to have on the mound in this game, guys, I'm definitely going under 7.5. I think either one of these have a a decent chance to end up in the pinned comment. I don't think I'll put both in, and I'm probably leaning towards the Guardians at -104, but I would not blame anyone for taking that under. Next up, we've got the Washington Nationals going on the road to take on the New York Mets. The Nationals come into this game fresh off of winning 3 out of 4 there against the Marlins. They've actually won 4 out of their 5 games overall, but at 68 and 81 on the year, obviously this isn't a team that's going to be anywhere near the postseason. They're going to be hitting the ball to Jake Irvin in this game, who's 10 and 12 this year with a 4.19 ERA. He comes into this game fresh off of a very good start against Atlanta. It was a game we saw the Nationals win 5-1. He went 6 innings, gave up 2 hits, only a single earned run in that game. A nice bounce back after a couple of rough starts against some NL Central opponents there. So we'll see what he can do in this one. I'm expecting pretty good things. I mean, going up against the Mets can be tough at times, but definitely hasn't been tough all the time this season. He's got one fantastic start and one terrible start against the Mets. So we'll see what he does this time. Obviously a little bit tough to figure out there with some very, very mixed results. But overall, Jake Irvin, a pretty solid pitcher, and he comes into this game throwing the ball well. So I'm not expecting him to be terrible, but I'm not really expecting that Nationals bullpen to be amazing. They've struggled here down the stretch, guys. Something like bottom at least 10 in the majors with a 4.15 bullpen ERA, so not necessarily loving that. On offense, the Nationals didn't have, I guess, a terrible series against the Marlins, but in each one of their winning efforts, they scored 4 runs, and then their loss, they scored 3, so not really a team that's lighting it up out there at the plate. They haven't been a great offense all season long. They're really, really lacking power on this roster. I mean, they're 23rd in the majors in runs scored, 23rd in slugging percentage. They've got relatively good batting average and on-base percentage numbers, but overall, guys, not really an offense that I am going to be super stoked about, pretty much going up against any team. And they're taking on the New York Mets, who come into this game obviously a little bit concerned here with Lindor having to exit the game and dealing with some back soreness. Gonna have a bunch of tests run. Hopefully it's nothing that's a big deal, but if he's going to be out for this game, especially if he's going to be out for any protracted period of time, that is a big deal there for the Mets. That's not good news from them. They're going to be hitting the ball to Sean Manaea in this game, who's 11 and 5 this season with a 3.35 ERA. He comes into this game fresh off of a great start at Toronto. He's actually been very good. I would say 4 out of his last 5 starts, and we'll also take note, guys, the Mets are 5-0 the last 5 times he was on the mound. So very dominant stuff coming out of Manaea recently. How will he look here against the Nationals? I mean, I'm expecting pretty good stuff. The last time he faced them was in early July. He went 7 innings, gave up 5 hits, only a single earned run in what was a 7-2 extra inning game there win for the Mets. So they'll take it. I mean, I'm expecting good stuff from Manaea. Am I expecting good stuff from the Mets bullpen? I mean, better stuff now than I was earlier in the season. A 3.98 bullpen ERA is nothing awful. The offense obviously is going to be really struggling there without Lindor, I would think, at least. I mean, he's their top batting average guy. He's been one of their best players, probably their best player this season overall. So definitely very problematic if he's out, and they can't be super pumped with what they did the last 2 games there at Philly. So yeah, I would assume they'd be pretty determined to win this game, but without one of their best players, that could be a little bit sketchy. And looking at the numbers for this game, guys, Washington's only 32 and 42 on the road. That is obviously not great. The Mets are 40 and 33 at home, so a very solid home team. We've actually got both teams showing trends towards the over, but they are the slightest, tiniest trends. We don't even care about those really. Over under of 7.5 in this game. Guys, I think you wouldn't be too far off taking the Nationals at plus 144 in this spot. I don't think I'm going to put it in the pinned comment. It's only a slight lean, and we don't have the best history here for Jake Irvin. I mean, yeah, it's definitely a little bit worrisome there. He's had that one terrible start against the Mets and one dominant start against the Mets, so we don't really know what to expect from him in this one. But guys, I do think under 7.5 has some value, especially if we see Lindor out of this game. Basically, that's going to be the deciding factor here. If Lindor's out, I definitely think you could take the Nationals, and I definitely think you could take the under. If he's in, that kind of throws everything out of whack. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the LA Dodgers going on the road to take on the Atlanta Braves. The Dodgers come into this game fresh off of a pretty kind of rocky start to that series against Atlanta. We'll see what they do on Sunday Night Baseball, but right now, not holding my breath here for the Dodgers, who not having the best time the last couple of series. It seems like they're a team that's pretty much just ready to get the postseason going, and yeah, I mean, just sitting back and watching Ohtani at this point. But they're going to be hitting the ball in this one to Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who is 6-2 this year with a 2.77 ERA. He has been very good in his last few starts, guys. He hasn't been lasting very long out there on the mound, which is a bit of a concern, but generally speaking, I don't think this is a guy that we're super worried about out there. I think we can expect to see good stuff from him here against the Atlanta Braves. Not a team that he's faced this season yet, so we'll see what we get out of him. I'm expecting pretty good stuff, though. You have to be braced for him to have a short start. That's always a possibility, but guys, when he comes out of the game, you've got that Dodgers bullpen, and maybe while they haven't been amazing recently, over the course of the season, a 3.61 bullpen ERA ERA is obviously very, very good. Among the best 5 or 6 bullpens in the major leagues. Absolutely no question about that. So we'll see what the pitching staff can do in this game. I'm always expecting good stuff from this offense, but it's been a bit of a struggle recently, guys. I mean, they've scored 1, 2, 10, 3, 4, and 4 runs over their last few games. Those are not the kind of numbers that we're used to seeing this team put up, guys. Generally speaking, this has been a pretty freaking elite offense, and just recently they've had some ups and downs. I mean, Ohtani, obviously no ups, no downs, just lots and lots of ups all season long, but one guy can't carry a whole roster by himself all the time. So we'll see what they can get done here against the Braves, who have to be pretty stoked with how things have gone so far in this series. They're going to be giving the ball to Max Fried, who is 9-9 this year with a 3.46 ERA. He's coming off a really bad start at Washington, guys. 6 innings, 11 hits, 4 earned runs. Not his normal stuff. Recently, we've seen him be very, very good. Good in back-to-back starts against the Phillies. Great start against Toronto. Like, generally speaking, Max Fried has been throwing the ball really well. We'll see what he can do here against the Dodgers. He faced them once back in early May and was pretty good. Maybe not dominant, but pretty good. But that was back when the Dodgers were absolutely killing it. So we'll see what he can do here. I'm expecting good stuff from Fried in this game, generally speaking, and I'm always going to be expecting good stuff from that Atlanta bullpen. A 3.13 bullpen ERA is second in the majors, and they've been one of the best pretty much maybe 2 or 3 bullpens in the major leagues all season long. So once we see Max Fried come out of this game, no reason to be worried about the pitching situation. That bullpen's going to be absolutely fine out there. The question for this team is their offense, and they're coming off of a couple very, very good games. They've been swinging the bats a lot better here down the stretch, not having to rely solely on Ozuna here. They are 16th in the majors in runs scored and 19th in the majors in on-base percentage, but like I said, guys, recently as a team as a whole, they've been swinging the bats a lot better. So feeling a lot better about them offensively coming into this game. And looking at the numbers, guys, we've got the Dodgers at -112, the Braves at -104. We've got an over-under of 7.5 again in this game. The Dodgers are 38-34 on the road, so not a great road team. Atlanta is 42-31 at home, so a very good home team. Atlanta is a huge under team, guys. They are 49-23-1 to the under when playing at home, and I could see under 7.5 in this game. I mean, Fried is very good. Yamamoto is very good as well at times, but it makes me a little bit worried. He has all those instances where he doesn't go very deep into games, but both these teams have solid bullpens, so I think the under has some value. I also think you want to take a look at the Braves here. I'm not sure if either one of those plays is going to end up in the pinned comment, but with Atlanta playing so well here down the stretch and the Dodgers kind of slumping, I would say it at least has some sort of chance. But yeah, this might not be a pitching matchup we're absolutely in love with. But yeah, guys, I've been liking what I see from Max Fried, so kind of a wait and see spot. Definitely going to be wanting to check back on that pinned comment. Hey guys, jumping in here with a quick ad break. First of all, this is a great time to sign up at snthspread.com. Signing up for a premium membership gets you access to our entire team of cappers covering MLB, NCAA football, UFC, and the NFL. If you just want to test out the service, a great way to do that is by joining our free email list, which will get you the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Just go ahead and click that link in the description. It'll take you right over to snthspread.com. Also, guys, just to clarify some of the questions we've been getting in the emails and in the comments, I am not the MLB capper for snthspread.com. These YouTube picks are obviously free to everyone and are just what I am seeing out there. We have an expert with nearly 15 years of experience that covers MLB and has a very strong algorithm and some very cool tools that he uses to bring our premium members the best picks possible. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you're new. Now back to the games. Rapid fire through these games here, guys. We're looking at the Detroit Tigers going on the road to take on the Kansas City Royals. The Tigers just won 2 out of 3 there against the Baltimore Orioles. Very solid stuff there. They definitely need to be winning all of these games they can to keep themselves there in the playoff hunt. Only 2.5 games back of Minnesota in the American League wildcard race. The Tigers are going to be handing the ball to Casey Mize in this game. He's 2-6 this season with a 4.47 ERA. His last start did not go great against the Rockies. 4 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 4 earned runs. He struck out 7 and walked 0, so that makes it look a little bit better, and we did see Detroit eventually get the 7-4 win, but he was definitely not dominant out there. I would say over his last 5 starts, probably 3 of them have been good. He had a dominant start against the Angels, but generally speaking, we've been a little bit worried about Mize here down the stretch. No doubt about that, guys. I've been a little bit concerned about him, and the last time he faced Kansas City, it was at Kansas City, so the same situation as this one. He got absolutely shelled. 1 2/3 innings, 9 hits, 6 earned runs. That was back in May, so it's been a while, but I'm not super stoked about this spot for Mize. In terms of the bullpen, though, Detroit's been fantastic. A 3.61 bullpen ERA is absolutely elite. They're 5th in the majors right now. So, yeah, looking like a very, very solid bullpen at the moment. We'll see if they can, keep that rolling here, but I'm expecting pretty good things, at least from the bullpen, if not from Mize in this game. The question for the Tigers usually is, where is their offense going to come from? Riley Green's been doing his thing lately, don't get me wrong. He's been hitting the ball well, but 4, 2, 1, 2, 7, 11, and 9 runs doesn't really get me going too much. Obviously, they were swinging some hot bats there against the Oakland A's and in one game against Colorado, but this is not a great offensive team, which they kind of just showed in that series against Baltimore. So definitely a bit problematic for a team that's 28th in the majors in batting average, and their leading hitter, guys, is batting .265. Yeah, just not a fantastic situation here for the Tigers at the plate, going up against the Royals, who come into this game fresh off of winning 2 out of 3 there at Pittsburgh. They're 4 games back of Cleveland in the AL Central. They're going to be hitting the ball to Seth Lugo in this game, who's been lights out this season. He's 16-8 with a 2.94 ERA. His last start, he obliterated the Yankees. 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs allowed, no walks in that game, and he struck out 10. Absolutely dominant stuff. That was a 5-0 win there for the Royals. Lugo has been, the dude's been amazing this season. Don't get me wrong. Over his last 5 starts, 4 of them have been absolutely lights out. We're expecting good stuff from Lugo against pretty much any opponent. And the last time he faced the Tigers, guys, he went 8 innings, gave up only a single earned run on 4 hits. He only struck out 3 in that game, but still was completely dominant out there. So expecting very good stuff from Lugo in this game. I'm expecting, a lot of craziness from that Royals bullpen. That seems to be generally what happens. I mean, a 4.44 bullpen ERA is not great. That's been kind of the Achilles heel of the Royals here down the stretch. The offense has been all right recently. I mean, only scoring 3 runs in the last game there against the Pirates is not great, but 3, 5, 8, 3, and 5 runs over their last few. Not a disaster. Obviously, Bobby Witt Jr. is a monster. This team is 10th in the majors in runs scored and 7th in the majors in batting average. The Royals offense definitely has room for improvement, but right now going up against Mize in this game, I'm expecting very good stuff from them. Unfortunately, guys, in this game, we don't have any numbers, so please don't forget to check back that pinned comment. I'll very likely be adding this game in. I like the Royals a lot in this spot. I could see myself taking them on the money line or against the run line. The Royals -1.5 definitely could be in play for this game. Detroit is only 38-37 on the road, and Kansas City is 15 games above 500 at home. They're 45-30 at home. We've got mixed trends here towards the over-under, and I'm unlikely to be very interested in the over-under in this game, but please, guys, check back. Once we have some numbers, this game has a great chance to end up in the pinned comment. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Oakland A's going on the road to take on the Chicago Cubs. Oakland comes into this game not having a great time, guys. They just lost 2 out of 3 at the Chicago White Sox, so that's a pretty bad look. Obviously, Oakland doesn't have a lot to play for this season at 65-85 in the year, but still, they've been showing a lot more pride than a team that's losing 1-run games to a squad like the White Sox. Oakland's going to be handing the ball to Joey Estes in this game, who's 7-7 on the year with a 4.36 ERA. He comes into this one fresh off of a decent start there at Houston, 6 2/3 innings, only 2 earned runs allowed. He gave up 3 runs total and 7 hits in that game, so I'm not exactly thrilled with how he threw the ball. His start for that against Seattle, also a little bit problematic, but before that, he rolled off several very good starts in a row. So we'll see what we get from him in this one. I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily expecting miracles here going up against the Cubs, who've been much better at the plate here down the stretch, but we'll see what we get from him. We'll also see what we get from that Oakland bullpen that's taken a turn for the worse here towards the back end of the season, guys. A 3.95 bullpen ERA, not nearly as good as they were at some other points this season. So we'll see where the bullpen's at. I'm not expecting great things from the A's pitching staff, generally speaking, in this game. In terms of their offense, they scored 3, 6, and 2 runs in their series against the White Sox. That is not great, guys. It's definitely a bit problematic. Haven't been swinging the hottest bats recently. I mean, Brent Rooker keeps absolutely just crushing it out there. I mean, the dude's batting over 300 with 37 home runs and 107 RBIs. Yeah, I would bet the Oakland Athletics are going to trade him pretty soon. They are not usually a team that's in the business of having actual good players on their roster. So we'll see what happens with him, but good for him hitting the ball so hard recently. But this offense, guys, is 26th in the majors in runs scored and 25th in the majors in on base percentage. So we'll see what they can do here against the Cubs, who are not having a great time over the last few games, guys. Really struggling in this series they've got going on at Coors Field. They, just not looking great. Not looking great. Playing a very low scoring game at the moment. So we'll see what they do in this one. Hinting handing the ball to Shota Imanaga, who's 13-3 on the year with a 3.03 ERA. His last start was at the Dodgers, and he was very good. 7 innings, 7 hits, and 3 earned runs against Stanley. The Dodgers is very solid. Obviously, giving up 3 solo home runs in that game, not great. So if he could eliminate a couple of those mistake pitches, all of a sudden that start looks absolutely dominant. The Cubs are 4-0 over his last 4 starts. He's had a little bit of trouble pitching on the road, but guys, he's back at home for this one. So I'm expecting good stuff from him. Obviously, the bullpen for the Cubs, maybe not having the greatest time here down the stretch. A 3.82 bullpen ERA, though. Not the end of the world, but definitely a bullpen that it's worth your while to keep an eye on. Definitely some small cracks showing out there in the Cubs bullpen. In terms of their offense, it's been fine here, but the pitching has kind of been what's let them down. I mean, the Cubs have scored 5, 8, 6, and 10 runs over their last few games. Much better than what we were seeing from this team, early in the season or even midway through the season. They're up to 13th in the majors in runs scored, 11th in on-base percentage. It seems like the offense really coming around here. I mean, we've seen good stuff from a few of these guys all season long, but it's taken a while for this team to really get itself figured out. So looking at the numbers for this game, we see the A's at plus 162, the Cubs at minus 188. We've got an over-under of 7.5 in this game. Oakland is only 29-45 on the road. The Cubs are 38-33 at home, so better at home than away for sure. In terms of the over-under, we've got both teams showing some trends here towards the under, but with Joey Estes on the mound and the A's bullpen struggling a bit recently, and the Cubs bullpen not looking insane down the stretch, I'm probably a little bit scared off of that under 7.5. But guys, you could definitely interest me in taking the Cubs here. I don't hate the Cubs, just straight up minus 188. If you wanted to take a minus 1.5, you can get plus 110, plus 115, something like that. That seems extremely reasonable to me. I'm probably going to go ahead and side with the Cubs at minus 1.5 here. I think we'll see Imanaga have a very good outing. He should just be able to pitch around Rooker. I mean, there's no reason to be giving this dude pitches to hit when nobody else in the lineup can really hit. So go ahead and give me the Cubs minus 1.5 in this game. I think it's got some pretty solid value. Next up, guys, we got a pretty exciting series starting off between the Phillies and the Milwaukee Brewers. The Phillies come into this game winners of 2 out of their last 3. They won the last game of that series against the Mets 2-1. So very close stuff there on a 9th inning walk-off. The Phillies at 90-59 in the season have nothing to worry about. They're going to be cruising into the playoffs here. They're handing the ball to Ranger Suarez, who's 12-6 on the season with a 3.05 ERA. His last start was not a good one, guys. He was going against Tampa Bay. He gave up 12 hits and 4 earned runs. Yeah, 5 1/3 innings of work. That was a game the Phillies somehow managed to win 9-4, but man, it was not Ranger Suarez's fault they won that game. He had a great start against Miami before that, but he's been a bit all over the place here. Kind of, it feels like since the All-Star break. I mean, yeah, it's just been a weird season for Suarez. He got off to an insanely hot start, but yeah, now things are looking a little bit more sketch. So we'll see what we get out of him in this game. I'm not expecting him to be terrible. I'm not expecting the Phillies bullpen to be terrible anymore either, which has to be a great development for that team and their fans, guys. A 3.86 bullpen ERA, looking much better than they were 3 weeks ago. This bullpen was looking terrible. So things definitely seeming to round into form here for the Phillies bullpen. That's got to be very nice. The offense, maybe not killing it. I mean, only scoring 2 runs there in their last game against the Mets. They scored 2, 6, 3, 3, 9, 2, and 1 run over their last few. This has not been that high-flying, super high-powered Phillies offense that we saw earlier in the year. Will they be able to come up with the hits that they need, the power numbers that they need in the playoffs? We'll have to wait and see, guys. Seems like kind of a big ask to just turn it on like that, but who knows? Maybe they'll turn it on here at the end of the season. Hard to tell, though, right now. We'll have to see what they can do going up against the Brewers, who come into this game fresh off of a series against the Diamondbacks. Milwaukee comes into this game with a very comfortable lead there in the NL Central. They're going to be handing the ball to Aaron Savale, who's 6-8 this year with a 4.57 ERA. His last start was at the Giants. He went 5 1/3 innings, gave up 3 hits, 2 earned runs in that one. He also gave up a home run. His last couple of starts have been a bit lackluster, but not horrible. And yeah, I mean, the dude's done some very good stuff this season. He had a shutout outing, 7 innings, no runs allowed, only 2 hits allowed against the Cardinals back on the 29th of last month. So we've seen some good stuff from him. We've also seen some problems, but I'm expecting a decent start here from Savale. Maybe no miracles, but this is a guy that should be able to at least eat up some innings here, even against a Phillies team, at least since, they're not swinging the hottest bats right now. Whenever Savale comes out of the game, though, the Brewers bullpen, definitely a bullpen we have lots of faith in, guys. I mean, a 3.14 bullpen ERA has them currently 3rd in the majors, and they've been a solid bullpen pretty much all season long. Not a lot of reason to worry about this pitching staff or this bullpen really in this game. So a lot will fall onto this offense. And they looked great in game 2 against Arizona, scoring 15 runs, but this has not been the high-powered offense that we saw earlier in the year. I mean, yeah, they're still 6th in the majors in runs scored and 8th in batting average, but it just hasn't been the same, guys. They've scored 15, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, no, 1, 5, like just not a team that's putting up big numbers anymore. It just hasn't been happening. Obviously missing Yelich has to hurt a little bit, but they should be used to that. The dude's out all the time, so we'll see what they can do. I'm not necessarily expecting miracles out of this offense. So looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we've got the Phillies at -110, the Brewers at -104. We've got over-unders out there of 8 or 8.5. The Phillies are 37 and 33 on the road. Milwaukee's a very good home team at 42 and 29 at home. We've got both teams showing trends towards the over in this spot, which I think is pretty interesting. Obviously both of these pitchers have shown they're capable of having some mediocre outings. I don't know if these are quite, I mean, these are pretty big trends, guys. Milwaukee 38, 26, and 7 to the over at home, and the Phillies are 36, 32, and 2 to the over on the road, and there are 8s out there. You could take over 8, so over 8 seems very, very playable to me. I don't really trust either one of these pitchers at this point. I guess if you're demanding a pick on the side in this game, I would probably go with the Brewers at home, but that seems a bit tough, guys. I think over 8 is definitely the better value in this game. Next on the docket, guys, we are looking at the Pittsburgh Pirates going on the road to take on the St. Louis Cardinals. The Pirates come into this game fresh off of winning 1 out of 3 there against the Royals. They're 71 and 78 on the year, so not having a disaster season, I suppose, but they are in last place right now in the NL Central. They're going to be handing the ball to Paul Skeens. That's been the bright spot for them this season, and kind of one of the brightest spots here in the MLB. Skeens is 10 and 2 this season with a 2.10 ERA. At only 22 years old, those are some pretty good numbers. His last start was a good one against Miami. He went 6 innings. He did give up 6 hits, but only a single earned run while striking out 9 in a game we saw the Pirates eventually win 3-2. Skeens has been very, very good. No doubt about that. I'm sure that's no big shock to anybody who's followed baseball at all this season. The dude has been absolutely lights out. The last time he went up against the Cardinals, he went 8 1/3 innings, guys. He gave up 4 hits and 2 earned runs in that game. He gave up a home run. That's kind of how that happened. He had 8 strikeouts and 0 walks. That was at home against the Cardinals, and now he's going to be pitching at Busch Stadium. Guys, I'm expecting great stuff from Paul Skeens in this game. No major shocker there. I know, oh wow, Skeens is going to have a good start. Like, yeah, I definitely expect him to be good out there. I'm also expecting that Pirates bullpen to continue to be bad, a 4.61 bullpen ERA, a number that just keeps getting worse and worse here for the Pirates. Yeah, that bullpen, definitely something that's going to have to be addressed there in the offseason. In terms of their offense, it hasn't been great here down the stretch, guys. 4, 1, 3, 3, 6, and 3 runs over their last few. Obviously not ideal, not what you're hoping for from your offense, especially when you've got Bryan Reynolds out there looking very, very good. Not as good here down the stretch as he looked before the All-Star break, but still looking pretty good. This team is 23rd in the majors in batting average, 25th in the majors in slugging percentage. Just not a lot of amazing things for me to say about this Pirates offense, guys. Not a lot of great hitters out there aside from Bryan Reynolds. In terms of their opponent in this game, taking on the Cardinals, who just got swept in a 3-game series there at Toronto. Pretty weak stuff from the Cardinals. Yeah, not going to be any late season push here. Not going to be any late season heroics where the Cardinals try and put together some sort of run at a playoff spot. Seems like those dreams are pretty much dead for a team that is now 74 and 75 on the year. They're handing the ball in this game to Andre Pallante, who's 6 and 8 this season with a 4.13 ERA. His last start was against the Reds. It was pretty decent. 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, but he hasn't been quite as good here down the stretch. This young guy has given the Cardinals rotation some hope for sure. That's got to be a little bit nice, but yeah, I mean, is this enough to think he's, is he going to go out there and, lead them to anything important? I don't think so. This isn't, this isn't a situation that the Cardinals are really going to get themselves out of. Obviously, Pallante has done what he can out there. His last start against the Pirates was back in July, and it was very, very good. He actually had 2 excellent starts against the Pirates back in July, so we'll see if he can reach back and find something here. It seems like he might be suffering from a little bit of fatigue here down the stretch. I mean, he's only 25 years old, so we'll see what we get out of him. I generally, though, am expecting good things from him in this start, and also not expecting a disaster from that Cardinals bullpen. I mean, they haven't been quite as dominant recently, but they're currently, 8th in the majors right now with a 3.65 bullpen ERA. So I think they'll figure something out in terms of the pitching staff for this game. I think they'll be fine, but I do worry about the offense, guys. They've scored 2, 2, and 3 runs over their last few games. That is not going to get the job done. They're 25th in the majors in runs scored, 21st in the majors in slugging percentage. Obviously, Arenado and Goldschmidt's having, kind of career worst years has really, really sunk this offense. Not a lot of positive things to say about the Cardinals bats right now. So So looking at the numbers for this game, we got the Pirates at -145, the Cardinals at +124. We've got an over-under of 7 in this one. The Pirates are 33 and 38 on the road. The Cardinals are 38 and 35 at home. We've got both teams showing trends towards the under here. Not big trends, but definitely some small trends there. In terms of a side in this game, guys, I'm leaning towards the Pirates at -145. I think they find the way to get the job done and win this game. The Cardinals, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could, go with the angle that they just lost 3 in a row. They're due to win one. You could take the Cardinals. Not that interested in the side in this game, guys, but I do think there's some value on under 7. I think we're going to see offense be at an absolute premium. I think Skeens and Palante are going to have something of a pitcher's duel out there. Both guys could go 7+ innings against these, respective offenses. So, yeah, go ahead and give me under in this one. It's honestly got almost enough value to me to put it in the pinned comment. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Arizona Diamondbacks going on the road to take on the Colorado Rockies. The Diamondbacks come into this game trying to eke out a win there in the last game of their series against Milwaukee. At 82 and 66 on the year, they're 5 games back there in the NL West, but they are right there in the mix for that wild card in the National League. Looking like they're going to try and just use the power of offense to power them to, a playoff berth and then see what happens. But right now, guys, they're going to hand the ball to Merrill Kelly here in Game 1 of the series against the Rockies. Kelly is 4-0 this season with a 4.26 ERA. It's being reported that he could start either Monday or Tuesday, so definitely keep an eye on this one. It's currently posted that he is going to start on Monday. Obviously, he's been dealing with that hamstring situation, so they're probably going to want to be, relatively cautious, but I think there's a very good chance that he goes ahead and starts this game here on Monday. Going up against Colorado, probably not the worst situation to, ease your way back in, although he is pitching at Coors Field, so that can be obviously a pretty tough place to pitch. Over his last few starts, he's been very good, so I'm not expecting, anything terrible from him. I mean, his last couple have been good. He definitely had problems against the Dodgers and the Red Sox, but yeah, plenty of guys have had problems with teams like that. Against Colorado, much early in the season, the very, very beginning of the season, he was very good out there, so we'll see if he can carry that over in this one. Obviously, so long ago, there's not a ton we can draw from that, but I'm expecting good stuff from Kelly. Assuming that he starts this game, make sure you stay up to date on any sort of breaking news on that. In terms of their bullpen, obviously, Arizona's had their issues this season. They've been a bit better recently, but a 4.33 bullpen ERA does not exactly fill me with optimism. What does fill me with optimism is this offense, guys. They haven't had the best time against the Brewers, but yeah, generally speaking, this season they've been insane. They're the top run scoring team in the majors, first in runs scored, second in batting average, batting 263 as a team. They're first in on base percentage and first in slugging percentage, taking that spot over from the Baltimore Orioles. This freaking Diamondbacks roster, guys, up and down the lineup, they can absolutely murder it. So expecting big things from their offense in this game. In their opponent, I mean, not expecting a lot of great stuff from the Rockies, although they've been having a decent time recently. This is not a great team, guys. 57 and 92 on the year. They're handing the ball in this one to Antonio Senzatella. He comes into this game going to be making his first start of the season. Missing a year for Tommy John surgery like you do. We'll see what we get from him. Obviously, a pretty big unknown. 29 years old, so something of a veteran, but we'll see what he can do out there. Pretty rough stuff to be throwing the guy back out there against the Diamondbacks. Obviously not the easiest team to face, so we'll see how he looks. Not expecting miracles there, and I'm expecting a relatively short start from him, which is going to put pressure on this Rockies bullpen that is sporting a 5.39 bullpen ERA. Worst in the majors. They've been the worst bullpen in the major leagues all season long. No major news there. Anybody that's been paying any attention to baseball knows this Rockies pitching staff, especially the bullpen, is horrendous. So, we'll see what they can do at the plate to balance that out. They've been hitting the ball well recently, but over the course of the season, not so hot. I mean, it's been cool. They've scored 6, 9, and 4 runs over their last few games, but they're 20th in the majors in runs scored, 24th in the majors in on-base percentage. And when you're playing half your games at Coors Field, guys, we expect better offensive numbers. That is not what's up. That does not look very good. So, looking at the numbers for this game, Arizona, a very good road team, 41 and 33 on the road. Colorado, 34 and 35 at home. We've got mixed trends here towards the over-under. Arizona's a big over team on the road, and Colorado's a slight under team at home, which is kind of surprising, but we've got an over-under of 11 in this game, guys, and if you're determined to play the over-under in this one, I definitely think over is the way to go, but I'm a little bit hesitant about that, and I'm more interested in the side. You could take the Diamondbacks -170. I think that's fine. I think that's very good value. Throw that in your parlays or whatever you want to do. I think that's totally okay, but if you're looking to make value on those single bets, which I'm always encouraging, single plays are the way to go, I would go ahead and take Arizona -1.5 in this game. I think they're going to score tons of runs in this one. If you take them at -1.5, you can get them at -110. That seems extremely solid, guys. Go ahead and give me the Diamondbacks to win this game comfortably. I think we'll see plenty of offense and a very good start here from Merrill Kelly. Last but not least here, guys, we are looking at the Chicago White Sox going on the road to take on the Los Angeles Angels. The White Sox come into this game fresh off of winning 2 out of 3 against Oakland. I don't know when the last time this team won a series was. It might be their first series win in the whole season. I have no idea. But yeah, the White Sox, historically bad. Not going to go too deep into that. I think everybody knows that at this point. Jonathan Cannon, only 3-10 on the season with a 4.56 ERA. He's coming off of a mediocre start against Cleveland. 5 1/3 innings, 7 hits, only 3 earned runs allowed. Yeah, not that terrible. His last couple of starts have been serviceable, but we'll see what he can do here against the Angels. Obviously, it's got to be a little bit hard to summon up tons and tons of, like get up and get tons and tons of energy here to pitch for the White Sox when once you come out of the game, that terrible bullpen's coming in and you're probably not going to be in line for a win. The White Sox bullpen, second worst in the majors, a 4.88 ERA, so that's obviously real bad, and the offense is even worse, guys. They have scored 4, 7, and 0 runs over their last few, but they're dead last in runs scored, dead last in on-base percentage, dead last in slugging percentage, and 29th in the majors, batting only .222 as a team. Yeah, this is rough, guys. This is pretty rough. This is not a very good offense. Not going to waste a ton of time talking about it. Really depressing stuff there if you're a Chicago White Sox fan. They're going to be taking on the Angels in this game, who come into this one trying to snap a losing streak there against Houston, which doesn't look like that's going to happen. They're down 5-0 at the end of the 7th inning. They're going to be giving the ball to Reed Detmers here to start off the new week. He's 4-6 this year with a 5.64 ERA. His last couple of starts actually been pretty solid. A good start at the Twins, a very good start at home against the Dodgers. Not enough, for his team to get the win there against the Dodgers, but they did win 6-2 against Minnesota. It's not that often you see the Angels score 6 runs these days. It doesn't feel like, though. And yeah, we'll see what he can do here going up against the White Sox. Obviously, I would be expecting pretty good stuff against a horrible team like the White Sox. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Detmers hasn't faced them yet this year, but doesn't take too much to hold down the Chicago White Sox. And Detmers comes into this game throwing the ball pretty well. So we'll see what we get from him. We'll see what we get from that Angels bullpen that's been much better here down the stretch. A 3.93 bullpen ERA. Very respectable stuff. So yeah, thinking we're going to see good stuff from this Angels pitching staff overall. Are we going to get any offense from them? Well, they're currently getting shut out. The game 2 of this series, they scored 3. Game 1 of this series, they scored 3. This is not a very good offensive team. They're 27th in the majors in runs scored, 28th in batting average. So lots of question marks here about this Angels offense. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the White Sox at plus 158, the Angels at minus 178. We've got an over-under of 8.5 in this game. The White Sox are 15-57 on the road. The Angels are 30-44 at home. No over-under trends for the White Sox. The Angels are actually a slight or almost significant under team at home, and the under is kind of where I'm leaning in this game, guys. You could take the Angels to win. Don't get me wrong, that's totally fine, but I think we could see a decent start here from Jonathan Cannon against a pretty bad offense, and I think we're going to see dominant stuff from Detmers. So go ahead and give me under 8.5 in this game. Once again, pretty solid value here on this under, and I think late in the season, unders have been pretty decent. For our last baseball game of the day, guys, we've got the Houston Astros going on the road to take on the San Diego Padres. The Astros come into this game looking like they're going to finish off a 3-game sweep there of the Angels, and with a 4.5 at least game lead there in the AL West, they have to be feeling very comfortable. They're going to be giving the ball to Spencer Arrighetti in this game. He is 7-12 on the season with a 4.72 ERA. His last start, though, was very good. I mean, maybe not very good. He had 7 hits over 6 2/3 innings, but only 2 earned runs. He struck out 7 in that game, so some pretty decent stuff. He had a really terrible start against Cincinnati, so a nice bounce back there against Oakland, and we'll see what he can do here against the Padres. Obviously not the easiest team to face, so a little bit more of a test for him here. Let's see, has he taken? It doesn't appear that he's faced the Padres yet this season, so we'll see what he can do out there against a significantly better opponent. In terms of their bullpen, Houston has really put things together here at the end of the season. A 3.44 bullpen ERA is one of the best in the majors. Their offense has been kind of finding its stride here late in the game. I mean, they're 12th in the majors in runs scored, but 3rd in batting average and 7th in on-base percentage. Yeah, they've got some. Alvarez is a very solid hitter, and yeah, just generally speaking, guys, this is a pretty decent offense. It just doesn't really feel like they've fully put things together yet this season, which is crazy this late into the year, obviously. So we'll see what they can do here against the Padres, who come into this game currently playing against the Giants. They're tied up at 1 apiece in the 7th inning there. They've been playing well down the stretch, only 3.5 games back of the slumping Dodgers, so they've still got a shot there, but if they don't manage to win the NL West, they are in the top spot there in the National League wildcard race. They're going to be hitting the ball to Yu Darvish in this game, who is 5-3 this season with a 3.52 ERA. He, a little bit of a rough outing in his first one back since May against Detroit there, guys. I mean, 2 2/3 innings, gave up 3 earned runs, but followed it up with a very nice outing. 5 innings of solid ball there at Seattle. 5 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs allowed. They're both home runs. He struck out 5 and walked 0, so it seems like the command is there at least. I'm a little bit worried about you, Darvish, still, though, guys, for all the obvious reasons. He's going to have to show me over a few starts that he's actually fully healthy and really ready to be, like a mid-tier or better MLB starter. So we'll see what we get from him. We'll see what we get from the Dodgers bullpen. That's been much better here down the stretch, a 3.80 bullpen ERA. Definitely leaves plenty of room for improvement still. That could be a definite problem for them once the postseason starts. Offensively, they've been good. They've been good recently. I mean, 8, 5, 2, and 7 runs over the last few games. This is a pretty hard-hitting team. They have been all year. They're first in batting average, 7th in runs scored, 5th in the majors, batting or getting on base at a 327 clip. Like, this is a squad that definitely has plenty of pop out there. Obviously, getting Fernando Tatis Jr. back is a huge deal. He just hit a home run the other day. Like, seems like he's finding his stride as well. So, looking at the numbers of this game, we've got the Astros at plus 124, the Padres at minus 130. We've got an over-under of 8 in this game. Houston is 36 and 36 on the road. San Diego is 40 and 34 at home. We've got mixed trends here towards the over-under. Houston's a big under team on the road, and the Padres are a big over team at home. Guys, this is a tough spot. I really want to be on the over in this game, but I just can't quite do it going against those trends that Houston has put up. So give me a slight lean towards over 8 in this game. And if you're forcing me to pick a side, it's a little bit rough there, not knowing what to expect from Darvish. Obviously, Eric Getty's been looking a bit worse recently. So go ahead and give me the Padres at home, but this is a very small lean. Now, guys, diving into this Monday Night Football game, we've got the Atlanta Falcons going on the road to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. The Falcons got off to a pretty weak start to their season in week 1, guys. They lost 18-10 there to the Steelers. Most concerningly for the Falcons, we saw Kirk Cousins look totally and completely immobile, looked very, very uncomfortable out there on his first time in live game action with his newly repaired Achilles. Definitely concerning to see somebody his age having those kind of problems moving, and obviously coming off of a huge injury like that, it's understandable. But if he's not ready to go, like, you just probably shouldn't have him out there yet, because he's the main reason they lost that game to the Steelers in week 1. I mean, he got picked off twice. Didn't seem like he could plant and throw the ball well. He got sacked twice in that game. Just not a lot of positives for me out there about Kirk Cousins. So we'll see what he can do in this one. I'm not expecting miracles, although he's not going up against nearly as tough of a defense, at least in this situation, I don't think. So we'll see what happens. The Atlanta rushing game looked good. I mean, Robinson and Algier put up good numbers in their chances. They didn't get a ton of work, and it wasn't amazing numbers, but it was serviceable. I think the running game needs to be a big focus here for the Falcons. Do they have the strength to move the game, to control the game up front like that, though? That kind of remains to be seen. We didn't see a great game in the passing game from really any of the big name wide receivers for the Falcons either, so definitely concerns there. Their defense was very good. Not allowing a touchdown in that game is very impressive, although I guess going up against the Justin Fields-led offense isn't the toughest. They did struggle a little bit against the run and against a mobile quarterback, which is also a concern here in this game, going up against an Eagles team that, has a mobile quarterback, at least in theory. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not expecting miracles here from the Falcons necessarily. So yeah, definitely worried. Definitely the biggest worry for me for the Falcons in this game is what is going to go on here with Kirk Cousins. So we'll see what they can do going on the road to take on the Eagles, who come into this game. We've got some bad news for the Eagles breaking here on Sunday, guys. A.J. Brown is out for Monday Night Football. He will not be suiting up for this game. The Eagles obviously won that crazy game in Sao Paulo, 34-29. What an insane game to for them to start their season playing on Friday night in South America in the weirdest situation in recent NFL history anyway. So yeah, we'll see how they bounce back here in week 2. I mean, not necessarily bounce back, but Hurts is going to have to bounce back a little bit, guys. Jalen Hurts, he got picked off twice in game 1. I mean, he completed 20 of 34 for 278 and 2 touchdowns. But yeah, guys, getting picked off twice kind of sours that performance a little bit. He was fine out there, but plenty of mistakes to clean up here. And against an Atlanta Falcons defense, that might not be the easiest to do, but I also don't think it's the toughest opponent out there. So I'm expecting decent stuff from Jalen Hurts in this game, and I'm expecting Saquon Barkley to continue to play well, guys. He got off to a great start, 24 carries for 109 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also caught 2 passes for 23 yards and another touchdown. So all you Saquon Barkley fantasy owners have to be pretty pumped about that. Generally speaking, he looks like, and especially with Brown being out, the best skill player that's going to be available for the Eagles in this game, and I'm expecting big stuff from him. In terms of the wide receiver group, obviously A.J. Brown being out is not great, but they've got other pieces out there. I don't think that's the end of the world that he's going to miss this game, although it does not make life any easier there for Jalen Hurts. On defense, guys, the Eagles did not have a great time in week 1 against Jordan Love. I mean, they gave up 260 passing yards, had a very, very hard time figuring out how to slow down Jaden Reed. They also didn't do a good job against the running game at all. So, yeah, big concerns here for the Eagles defense. Supposed to be a good defense, but that is not necessarily what it looked like in week 1. That being said, I'm willing to cut them a ton of slack given these super weird circumstances under which they were playing. So we'll see what happens. I'm a bit concerned about this defense, though. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Eagles. They're the favorites, guys. -5.5 playing at home. That makes sense to me. We've got an over-under of 45.5. Seems like a bit of a tough spot, guys. I'm not super interested in any of the main bets in this game. I would say you could take a look at the Falcons and the points. I think Atlanta +5.5 in a game that's probably going to center around running the ball a lot could make some sense. And we didn't see the Phillies defense look very good in week 1. So maybe take a little look at the Falcons and the points. I also think under 45.5 is live in this game as well. Like I said, if it's going to be a big running game, if we're going to see Hurts run it, we're obviously going to see Saquon Barkley run it a lot. I think we're going to see the Falcons want to focus on the running game. That's going to shorten the game, guys, and lead to a lower total score. So yeah, go ahead and give me the Falcons and the under in this one, but I don't think any of that's really going in the pinned comment. That's all the games we have for today. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out snthspreadcom, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.